We're privileged here to talk to 68 U.S. Secretary of the State, John Kerry. Good to see you, sir.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
Do you see American global weakening as a result of Trump's America First stance?
Well, I think, I'm not going to comment on the particular policy or whatever, but the choices that have been made to attack NATO, to insult leaders in Europe, to pull out of agreements from Paris to Iran, et cetera, have not, I think, adequately served the interests of our country. I think they have isolated us, and I think they have begun to create big question marks out there in the world about whether the United States is ready to be there as promised or ready to be steady. I hope that's not true, but I've heard from enough people to be deeply concerned about it.
Mr. Secretary, the Obama administration made a principled decision not to give Ukraine defensive weaponry, and that was part of a big debate. Now that the Trump
not to give them
offensive weapon, right?
We did give defensive weapons.
But do you think, in retrospect, now that Ukraine has javelins, and some have said that they may also be used, have dual purpose use, do you think that the Obama administration may have been better advised to be more forceful in its support
No, because
of
I
Ukraine?
think the goal, no, we were very forceful in our support of Ukraine. We put $4 billion into the reassurance program for the frontline states. We put enormous effort into Ukraine itself. I visited, the vice president visited. We were constantly working with Ukraine for reform, for strengthening, and we organized the sanctions in Europe against Russia, which have been very effective. So I think the president made the decision that you didn't want to escalate to such a degree that you were encouraging World War III. I think it was a wise way to proceed, and it had its effect. President Putin stopped in the Donbass. He didn't come to Kiev. The war didn't expand. And I think it's being propagated now in a different way, through cyber, through disinformation, through interference. But I do think it's very, very important not to rush to war, to try to find a way to resolve something diplomatically.
No, President Trump has made a claim that, in fact, it was President Obama who bears responsibility for Russia's annexation of Crimea, his, as he would put it, limp-wristed, policy vis-a-vis Ukraine and Russia. Is there any credence to that position, blaming Obama for what's happening in Ukraine?
No, I think it's sad. It's almost laughable. President Obama couldn't have been more clear about Article 5, about NATO, about strengthening NATO, putting more money into NATO, raising more money from European countries for NATO, doing the reassurance program of the frontline states. I think that's just a lame excuse, frankly, and it's not borne out by history at all. There's no facts behind that.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you for your interview.
Thank you so much.